Authority, judgment, the triggers. These are the words been lingering around for days now. I think it's important for us to have another perspective and how we are relating to these circumstances in our everyday life. It's not common, but it's different. Nevertheless, we can have a dialogue, see how these things shape our life and where we can learn the room for improvement, have a little bit of deeper awareness as to what exactly these governing systems and governing ourselves according with the source, uh, our higher self and the creator, is one of those important questions that we need to ask ourselves when it comes to learning anything. Self-awareness is the most important task. Let's see what happens and see if we can have another layer of clarity regarding these words. The authority is, for me, I've always struggled taking directions from external factors, whether it's your immediate family, your friend groups, and because I had inherent awareness about my personal responsibility, uh, my connection to the source, and how we are to live our life. Simplest way to put these things together, whether we create our art, whether we do cooking, whether we create a dress, um, even if you take pictures, we can't put everything uh, in the frame. So therefore, we have to create the external boundaries and how to contain everything inside. Now, uh, how do we use these kind of logics to enhance our life? Um, for me, it was always about myself, the creator, the source, the unknown, um, and the personal responsibility. It was the most important factors because as a child, I remember my father. I don't remember all the words, but how he made me feel. It was the extreme love and never alter anything. I was just able to be. That was a huge foundation for what's happening in the future life. Your age 4, 5, 6, 7, uh, all of these years, when you have any time and interaction with my father, I felt this extraordinary unconditional love. He never, although he always asked me if I brushed my teeth, let's see your teeth, kind of silly things. But nevertheless, I was extremely validated. I was loved. I had no pressure to be something. It's always about being. It's never about anything external. So that was a good foundation and a start for my life because I've always remember. Lately I have been thinking a lot about my childhood, the memories, and have interactions with these little children now all grown up. But it was a good time in the memory lane. So you are remembering these moments and how you felt. It is really important. So that was the foundation for me. I also remember being a really hysterical crybaby or child. Nobody wants to be around these kind of children, especially if you're 5, 6, 7. People don't want to hysterical cries, throwing off on the floor, and that's kind of behaviors. Because I think I was living life in accordance with the energetic frequencies, I think, thinking back. So you express your dissatisfaction, or trying to have a control over your life and existence. So what I understood is my life and the creator. So all these shenanigans we have to experience here in this Mother Gaia surface, and you have to get a hold of yourself. The authority in the external world, like the traffic laws or the rules for trying to maintain the integrity of the individuals, is very prominent. It's logical and it's practical. It is the obvious thing. But within these framework of authority, we have an enormous level of time and space for us to get to know ourselves, how we conduct our life, and the kind of discipline and mastery you can overcome. If we are delaying this, if we are ignoring these factors, and the external control grid also trying to straighten up and tighten the grip of the external control grid. So we need to keep all these things in mind. Now, even in the open field of freedom, you have boundaries. When we learn these things, we have a clarity regarding these factors. Life really becomes more joyous and well versed in living life with the discipline. How do we use these things as an example? We see lots of people are consumed by these addiction problems. You last a few months, you see, like, you go to your park, you see some people struggling with these addiction problems. They never really happen overnight. I'm pretty sure at some point these people have families who care for them, friends who would say, like, have a little nudge, hey, you got to, if you are to live here, you have to sort of follow some rules, and therefore we don't agree with your addiction, your drug addiction, your addiction to substance. It's a no-go. People would say, I'm pretty sure these young people would say, hey, don't tell me what to do. I am a free person. I could do whatever I want. I can go and come as I please, but there are consequences for these kind of freedoms. And the parents would probably say, well, fine then. If you don't want to follow the rules, you can just leave and do whatever. And then you become so consumed by this, it become worse than an animal. Animals have a control over their mind, body, spirit. They are very well observed and know their life. They aren't doing anything to sabotage their life deliberately. So this is the difference. Somebody can say, hey, we're so grateful we have a bathroom. It's a clean place. It's a bathroom. We're even more grateful we have bathroom for men and women. But then after a while, it would be like, we have a problem, who is going to use what bathroom? So this is going into uh, going over the boundaries of certain parameters. This is something we are to keep in mind. They are simple examples, but we can also see the sports. We're like, hey, we are so grateful we have place to express our strength and uh, participate on these things. Hey, we're so glad we have women placements and the men, and then after a while we are bickering about who is going to play where. So we are going into a territory of confusion there. So these are everyday examples. Same thing with the financial. Somebody can say, parents could say, hey, I really don't think you could afford to do that. Maybe you are to pay attention. You'll be like, oh wow, I got a credit card. Don't tell me how to spend my money. So therefore we go out and do these things and probably run into problems because we have not have a clarity about where we spend, where we um, should practice caution. So then there is an area that we are um, uh, voluntarily walking into because we have issues with the awareness, usually awareness about ourselves, our limitations, and our where we can thrive. So we're feeling iffy about that. When it comes to our health, it's the one of the most important factor to keep in mind. Now, we know our diet is like, we have a lot of choices, options. If you have a lot of money or a few dollars, we even have more choices. But the truth is where lies somewhere very you need to focus on how we nurture ourselves. I always say these things. They are very basic parts of our existence, but it's the most important thing. And I know even I explore these options. You're young, you're in school, you're doing a couple of jobs, you don't have a time, you don't have a space, you just go out with your girlfriends and eat something, but you know immediately it's really not a long-term sustainable goals. You can't maintain your life this way. You know the inflammation is kicking in. You know you're gaining your weight. You know you're not nurturing. You feel weaker, but nevertheless your youth and vibrancy carry you forward, but it's really never sustainable goals. How you fuel yourself. So you have to correct these things very quickly, or we're having really hard time losing weight, the inflammation, get this under control, and you have to run to the doctors afterwards, because these physical things also affect your emotional, spiritual self as well. So these are like basic social examples where we can practice our authority to get a hold of ourselves. The other factor is all these brainiacs out there, they have done what do you call the infrastructure in accordance to our disabilities or physical limitations. I'm not sure what's the purpose. Are we anticipating extra extra numbers of these circumstances into our social existence, or because I don't remember anyone is saying, wow, these kind of lives are extremely traumatic, especially there need to be a lot of support groups. Do you have the family support? You do have the financial, you have the emotional, spiritual, physical labor going in to look after these individuals. The benefit for the humanity would be like, hey, we have all this technology, we need to minimize these effects. How we need to find a solution why these people are coming into world with a lot of complications, a lot of disabilities, a lot of limitations. This is a huge problem. We can invest time and energy to fix these things, how to correct these things, and find out what is causing these things. It's a common sense observation. The other sign that I've noticed, the healthcare professionals in every level. Obviously, we want the everything is about our pay grade. So it wasn't we weren't allowed to have these discussions. But what is the most disheartening things are the healthcare professionals. They will say, hey, well, these problems, we can easily fix them, but we really can't be discussing these things. We're really not supposed to have these solutions. Therefore, we allow human beings to suffer needlessly because we have forgotten about this human dialogue and how we supposed to resolve problems. It's not that external demonic control grid have all the powers. It makes it so much easier for them to control you because we are so effortlessly doing all the beddings for these parasites, these control grids. This is the most disheartening thing about the human existence, and we have to deal with these shenanigans, these kind of destructive patterns to our own human species existence. It's another thing. Now, with the Great Awakening, I'm not really confused about the options we have, even if it is outrageous, even it doesn't make any logical, practical sense. The options are always there, but what is the most disheartening thing is that how unawakened we are to these factors. This is what the discussion about authority is important, because do we know enough about ourselves to have authority over yourself? Now, why does it even have to be a public discussion? Because a certain level of judgment have to go into these protecting our vessel. In the elements, in the outdoors ecosystem, you see there's rain, thunder, lightning, extreme winds, and even the fires. They're always happening in parallel because the strengthening of our ecosystem, it's a vital part. We need to recycle, or we need to eliminate things that's not going to support the most vibrant ecosystem. So this is something logical, practical observations we have regarding our life on Earth cycles. And so it's continuously we are shifting, shuffling, changing, so that the most vibrant parts of our ecosystem can take place. With the human ecosystem is not any different. The public discussion have to happen because if you are dying parts of our human ecosystem, you can't really make decision for me, because that is not allowed, because you don't have the strength. You can easily be triggered. We would be strong to be consistent and stand up for things that is very clear to us. For example, we use these examples repetitively because it is important. Now, even if you go into any kind of school of health, even for rain, you will know that informed consent was something really, it's not optional, it's a must. And yet we have the knowledge, we've all heard about this, we all have a clear judgment about it, yet we haven't stood our ground. Whatever the cases may be, the external control grid never made it easier for you. You have to choose. This is where you need to practice your strength, your discipline, and protect integrity of your vessel. But some people reluctantly expose themselves to these external factors because we weren't really digging deep. Even if we did, we didn't want to lose something. We didn't want to lose your employment, your home, your comfort. So therefore, we have chosen something that might not support your life in the long term. There are consequences. If you don't have, this is great, but we can't assume there won't be any consequences. This is where we practice our strength and our authority. So, without health, without informed consent, there would be nothing. Nothing is more vital than existence of your life. So this is how we navigate life. But you can make these decisions, because clearly the other factor I want to speak about now, we know about the birth certificates, all these fancy numbers and all these registrations. It doesn't matter what country you're from, where you live. These things are real factors. We we used to question these things even 40 years ago, 30 years ago. We were like, hey, you know, the what is all this about? Who is making these decisions? Now, it's a educated guess. If we have any kind of funds attached to these things, we are in this predicament because someone is taking what is rightfully yours. We don't know about this. Nobody have a discussion about it. It's not in the mainstream media, but we don't know for sure if it's the fact or a fiction. But we can't afford not to question. So then we have to come to terms with the fact we have a poverty, we are lacking accommodations, we are having a hard time supporting our life because someone may be taken something that is belongs to you. The other factor, the general population, the useless eaters, is continuously working towards these gold mining, the silver. These are like people's hard work. But then when you know hoarding is a mental condition, it's not so easily easy to deal with. There are emotional, spiritual, social stuff attached to these kind of behaviors, but yet we have a system that's completely obsessed with the greed, the profit making, and hoarding these these precious metals, the gold, and file them up somewhere where people can't eat. They have not enough resources. Uh, but there are a small group of entities are holding these precious things where you can add value to people's life. These are not common sense. These are not logical. These are not practical. So yet we aren't open, we aren't awakened enough to question these things. Hey, what is this control grid is all about? They're really hostile. They seem so disconnected from the realities. What is the most important things? So therefore we are not questioning. We are just getting consumed every day more and more. Until they are trying to put chips and potatoes, I don't know. But for me, someone who have a clarity about my life, I know that is don't even try these things. Don't have a discussion about it. Don't waste my precious minutes in this life where it's my life and my creator. And I do not want to engage that because I have awareness, I have a strength, I have I'm never going to be manipulated, to be influenced to do these things. So therefore, don't waste my time and energy. literally energy, because this kind of level of stress is going to cause energy drain. We have awareness about this. Um, Even if you want to be entertained by this, we have an option to close that mind. It doesn't mean that we should all go and live in some bush and get disconnected from the system, and this is not the purpose. We don't really need to isolate this way, but we can empower ourselves and we can find that authority within us to have a judgment about what is best for you. Um, the most effective, most common sense, most simplest explanation is we have these. I really think everything is about experimenting, and humans are exposed to these level of experiments, but we have no knowledge of that because we are existing on the surface level, being programmed, highly manipulated, highly gaslit, highly abused, but we don't know how to flag them. We don't know how to identify these things because we are sleepwalking through life. But the awakened ones have the authority, because we know that we are not going to be influenced, we are not going to be gaslit, because we have the ability to identify. We know about what makes us feel good, we know what makes us sickly, we know how uncomfortable it is to exist in dumbed down system. In the school, when you are a child, you don't know anything. We don't come in here a blank slate, but we don't have a lot of information, but you know that level of dumbing down systems. um a perfect example real quickly, in the very early childhood, like grade 1, 2, 3, we would have introduction of these things like, hey, it's a third world, developing world, hey, don't feel so bad, there's a worse group there, another region, the hungry kids with the flies. So there immediately reinforces these things to lower humiliate you a little bit, but make you feel better at the same time. So these are very clever examples of how the manipulation, gaslighting really do happen, regardless of what part of the world you are. It's very obvious. I immediately, hey, who said that? I never saw any child with the same personality. Everyone was very individualistic, and have their own energetic vibrational, just before the religion culture beat you down on the head and try to control and manipulate you. They had that freedom for their own unique, authentic expressions. And so this was a awakening moment for me, because I don't remember my father ever telling me about a group or this one, this level of boxes. The politically correct systems are saying, oh, well, you had to find your own box. You mean your own jail cell? Like superficial jailers? This is the correct clarity about these things, right? So you have to pay attention to these things before you get consumed. You have to get a hold of yourself and find out who you are, what you're made out of, why do you need to experience these things, and the level of connection to the source, and the kind of life you want to live. You enslavement not happen overnight, but it's a gradual programming. If you are awakened to it, you can very easily identify and red flag them. So this is how we find the authority over yourself, because we are empowered. Our health is the vital part, so you are in charge of your health. For me, if I hear a word healing, for the years I be digging. If it doesn't resonate with me, it's a different story, but it never stopped me from digging in and discovering something. So this is how you empower yourself. Now you see the even the control grid, they are exposed to sort of blackmail and control. It's a level of really sad existence. Even if you come into these public services agencies with a good intention, it's the parasites never going to allow you to follow up with it, because you are exposed, you are consumed by something, because we weren't open and awakened enough to what we are made of. It's never about not making mistakes, but it's about resilience, learning from mistakes. When we have 100 different multiple examples, whether it's your health, whether your finances, whether your spiritual, it doesn't matter. 10 examples should be enough to awaken us, but we have thousands instead, but we are still continue to swim in the shallow waters instead of exploring. So we limit ourselves when you are close-minded, when you are close to existence, life with inherent awareness about ourselves. We don't know anything really, because we don't have accurate information, but it never stops us from continuously digging to make sense out of all of these shenanigans unleashed on us in this 3D prison Gaia. But it's never the lack of beauty, lack of resources, lack of things to support life is everywhere. Even that carefully crafted man-made parks, you see there is an enormous level of opportunity for us to be connected to nature and sort of find some kind of a healing and perspective about ourselves. The natural setup is much better, but we don't have any knowledge about the level of manipulation that's done to our environment. But environment, Mother Gaia is not a weakened cell. It's got life force. It's continuously creating beauty and growth for us to get connected towards healing, towards perspective, towards authority over our own mind, body, spirit vessel. So this is what it's important to recognize in the midst of all the confusion. When we learn so much about yourself, the depth, level of integrity, level of connection, level of participation, life becomes so much better. Because I don't remember ever in this life myself thinking, hey, I had too much fun, I was really happy, I was really content, I regret these experiences. Maybe I ran away from home for a couple of hours, but I played with my friends, I had a blast. So these experiences, they add value because you were current, you were happy, you are very joyous. This is the most important memories, and this is why it's important for us to gain that authority that we came into this life with. We are mind, body, spirit, energetic frequencies vessels. So we aren't a victim, we aren't enslaved. It's the frequencies that we need to get connected so we can find a freedom. It's not out there, it's inside. So we have to find that freedom, inner heaven. So then it's possible for us to create the heaven on earth, because we're disciplined, because we are practicing integrity, we have empathy. When we have empathy for ourselves, We don't have to do a lot of extra work. We immediately have empathy for others. We have a level of respect. We have a level of clarity about the importance of life and the expressions of life, the characteristics of life. So we are not going to get triggered. We are going to get elevated because we learn from each other. We are nurturing, we are fueling where is lacking, we're eliminating what is not necessary. So this is the another one of my preaching. It makes sense to me. Hopefully it does to you too. So thank you.